Hello, I'm Anna Kinuthia. Welcome to a new episode of the Unwritten Rules Diaries. In every episode, I explore unwritten rules about a certain topic and how they potentially impact happiness levels in our daily life. I hope the insights I'm sharing with you will bring you some more awareness about the unwritten rules that are present in your personal life, so you can create more and more happiness for yourself, a high quality life for you and your loved ones. Great to have you here, and I hope you enjoy this Unwritten Rules Diary. It's time. It's time to share about how you can actually change your culture at home and create more happiness by working on your personal set of unwritten rules that are determining your life. Just like my personal unwritten rules are determining my life and my happiness. And isn't it that we are all chasing being happy? The impact of our dominant thoughts and behaviors, not things that we think or do once or twice, but those things that we constantly think and do. The impact of that on our personal lives is huge. Our unwritten rules determine big time whether we experience happy feelings in our daily life. The key to happiness is experiencing positive feelings in our daily life. And that is what happiness is, according to professors who measure global happiness for the United Nations. Just counting the number of positive feelings we experience in our daily lives. A simple but very important life hack that gives focus in your daily life. Although some situations can be exceptionally difficult, and I also had my share of grief and difficulties. At times, I was wondering how to keep my relationship or health good, or how to deal with health issues of my child. And in those moments, I like to remind myself of this quote of Eckhart Tolle, who is saying, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation itself, but your thoughts about the situation." Confrontational at times, but probably true. So the episodes of the Unwritten Rules Diaries are about the impact of our own behavior and thoughts, our personal unwritten rules, on whether or not we experience positive feelings in our daily life. It all starts with being aware of your current unwritten rules. That is why I'm making this video series. I will share about unwritten rules around a certain topic that I think many of us can relate to in our daily lives. And once you are aware about some unwritten rules in your personal life, you can choose for yourself whether that habit or thought pattern is contributing to you experiencing these positive feelings or not. And I will also share how you can change unwritten rules that are in your own way, because that is where more happiness is actually created. Anyway, that is for later. This approach is so valuable. I'm so excited to talk about this. But let me start in this very first video with some basics, like what are unwritten rules exactly? And I will give you some examples of unwritten rules to get you started thinking in this way about your own life. And maybe you can mold the examples a bit to make them describe your own habits and thought patterns. In case you are wondering, who is this? I'm Anna Kinuthia. I love to use the Kenyan family name of my husband. And I have been working with these unwritten rules in culture change programs in the business world for about 15 years now. And you know what? Maybe you've experienced it yourself with awareness. Once the genie is out of the bottle, you see it everywhere. The insights about unwritten rules I gathered during my professional career, I also started to see at home. I started seeing more and more clearly my own patterns of thought and behavior, my personal unwritten rules, and how they are impacting my life in all life areas. I started to see the unwritten rules of my self-talk, my patterns in my interactions with other people, and my repeated thoughts about what others might think and how that was impacting my life, the unwritten rules of my health culture, wealth creation, and so on. I think the awareness about unwritten rules clicked with me also in my personal life so much because in my relationship, we were pretty aware that our different sets of unwritten rules could easily become a problem. The man of my life was born on another continent. He started his life in a village in Africa, and I'm coming from a city in Europe. So to us, it was pretty obvious when we started our relationship back in 2007 that we would probably have to break some of our personal unwritten rules because of our different cultural backgrounds. Just check a few statistics about intercultural marriages. They're not very promising. And we realized that we would probably have quite some different customs, different ways of dealing with things, while at the same time we were so in love that we wanted to start a life together, one household, a family. So we just had to find a way to make our personal sets of unwritten rules compatible. We had to find a way to bridge our different cultures. And I started to understand that the approach of discovering, assessing, and changing unwanted unwritten rules in my work life was of great help in this journey of creating a happy life together at home. Once you have discovered your personal unwritten rules, there are different ways to bend the ones that are in your own way. That is at the core of what we do in organizations. Finding effective ways to change unwritten rules, the dominant patterns of thought and behavior. So business performance is increased. Johan, the director of the company I'm still working with, has developed a methodology in his doctorate research to change unwritten rules, which are having negative effects. There are 5 different perspectives that can be used to bend an unwritten rule. In the CYC program, we call these perspectives the 5 windows of change, which gives insights and tools on how you can change an unwritten rule, thought, or behavioral pattern in your own life. And that is so super exciting, such a valuable approach to create more and more happiness in your life. I've experienced it myself so much. And you can just have it in your pocket. I choose for every unwritten rule that I discover and feel is in my own way and is not serving me or my relationships. Which of the 5 windows is going to give me the best result so I can bend unwritten rules that are not working for me effectively, sustainably. I'm so passionate to share this knowledge online so people who are interested in consciously creating a culture in their home and who also want to grow towards more happiness and a higher quality of life can have access to these powerful insights and tools. So it's not only available for people who like to read thick books or who like to follow scientific articles or who are encountering this approach in their companies when we're visiting them, but it's available for people all over the world who want to work on their personal home culture. At home, behind our front doors. At least that is where we all want to feel good. Be happy in all areas of life, right? At home, we need unwritten rules that bring us happiness, that lead us towards the things we desire. We all want to be happy, right? Happiness can mean different things for different people, of course. Some people think our financial success is determining our happiness, and of course, a comfortable life is important. I think it can be an aspect if it's important to you, but happiness is so much bigger than financial success. Simply happy in your home, being able to be simply happy here and now with your relationships, with your eating and exercise habits, and the way you create more wealth and live in a sustainable, climate sustainable way. Especially when there are different cultures present in your house, the ideas about happiness can differ. You can think differently about many real life things that directly impact your happiness levels, how many positive emotions you experience. Things like role division of household chores, expenditure and saving patterns, who should earn what and who is responsible for what, dealing with family requests, raising and disciplining the kids, how to spend holidays, how to create rest at home, how to deal with conflicts. Wow, there is a lot happening in our lives that can directly influence how many positive emotions we feel, how happy we feel at home. In my case, my partner and I come from different continents, but your neighbor can as well have a very different personal culture, right? I think many of the issues I just raised are differently dealt with, even in the families of my own brother and my own sister. There are no 2 people in the world who think exactly the same about all these issues. So for everybody, it's relevant to dive into your own unwritten rules and to discover for yourself how helpful the ones you have collected over the years are in your relationships, in your self-talk, and so on. And to find out if some of your current patterns are in your own way. Are our personal unwritten rules making it difficult for happiness to land in our lives, in our homes? But let me explain a bit more about unwritten rules, because maybe you're thinking, what is this one exactly talking about? Unwritten rules are the day-to-day behaviors and day-to-day thoughts that we have. Because we repeat them a lot, they impact our lives a lot. Unwritten rules are everywhere in our daily lives. And these patterns of thought and behavior can be useful in our personal quest of creating a nice life, or they can be in our own way. Let me give you a few examples of unwritten rules that can be dominant at home, and they are different for every individual. So just some examples of unwritten rules to get you started to think about the ones relevant, the ones that are determining your personal life. The first, when we make a decision or agreement, often we don't actually swing into action. We don't really talk about our different views on matters. We share our thoughts, dreams, mistakes, and feelings with each other. We don't undermine each other in front of the kids. I'm contradicting my own instructions. Unwritten rules can also be about thought patterns like, I will be successful, or I'm sure I will fail again, or I believe we need to dream together. My partner believes we need to make many hours in the office to get financially stable. Unwritten rules can also cover the patterns of thought and behavior you have regarding yourself. When you repeat the thought in your head, for example, I have to do everything alone in our household. I want to be a great mom, so I have to have everything under control. As you can imagine, when these kinds of thoughts and behaviors are repeated a lot, these unwritten rules have a huge impact on people's lives. The question we need to ask ourselves is, am I happy with the particular set of unwritten rules I have in my daily life? Does this set of dominant thoughts and behaviors actually contribute to the quality of my life? Or is it time to bend some or maybe many of them? Am I in my own way of creating this nice relationship I desire so much? Am I in my own way of creating a better self-image, peace of mind, a healthier lifestyle, or more financial freedom? And I'm not saying you are in your own way. We can only discover that for ourselves when we reflect and ask ourselves these questions. To create a high quality life in all life areas, you need to have a set of unwritten rules that can bring you your best life in all those life areas. Life area self. What are your dominant ways of talking to yourself? What are your patterns to regulate your emotions? What are your thoughts regarding your spiritual life, and do they serve you? Life area social. What are your dominant behaviors in relating to other people? Life area health. What health culture do you currently have going on, and are you happy with it? Life area wealth. What are your dominant thoughts and repeated behaviors regarding money creation, employment, the job you have right now, entrepreneurship, or expenditure and saving patterns? You know, we all have a culture in all these life areas. That's a fact. We all have a different puzzle to make because we all have a different starting point and cultivated different unwritten rules over the years. That's also a fact. We all have to, well, have to might be a bit strong, but if you want to find your path in this life, a path that makes you happy, that fulfills your desires, then working on unwritten rules at home might be the answer you are looking for. To me, it feels so empowering to grow bit by bit as I proceed on that path to build a life culture that gives peace of mind and happiness, especially at home. Our house in the middle of our street, that is where we all want to find peace and rest after a busy day in this at times chaotic world, right? Happiness in our personal life is what makes life worth living, right? I had to figure out everything by learning bits and pieces here and there, and that can be made easier. That is why Johan and I developed the CYC program. I'm so excited about CYC because it can help you sift and sort through your personal unwritten rules, and we will help you to discover them and assist you to consciously create a high quality life for yourself in all life areas. How empowering is that? Really interesting tools that we want to be out there and easily accessible for people all over the world. Anyway, now you know there's a program, but in this Unwritten Rules Diaries, I just want to share about the impact of unwritten rules and the possibility to take your future into your own hands, and invite you to start working on unwritten rules that serve you and your desires. Because when you become a master in discovering the unwritten rules of your life, and you have the tools, the 5 windows of change to actually bend the patterns you are not happy with, will give you so much power. You will manage to create a higher and higher quality of life. Oh, just the thought of how fulfilling it would be if people take this chance and create a beautiful life for themselves. That would just be wow. Well, I'm going to quit now because this introduction has become a bit long, but I hope it resonates with you and you're triggered to watch the next episode. Have a lovely day. Well, you are and you are creating our personal culture. Bye. If you want more of this, check out our website, creatingyourculture.com. Join me next time for a new episode of the Unwritten Rules Diaries. Thank you for listening or watching.